guys, D1sco here, and today I'm going to be talking today. I will be reacting to the Dead by Daylight update 7.3.0, the mid-chapter update. This was released earlier today. I did not see it till I think a few hours after it had released, and then I very briefly looked at it, but I wasn't able to start making the video for a while. So if it seems kind of odd how late this is releasing, that's sort of why. Oh, this is new. So it has a release time map. So the map basically shows when the chapter, or it just shows when when the update releases in certain places. So if you live in Australia, it shows Sydney, but 2 a.m. in Japan, it looks to be 12 a.m. China's 11 p.m., 4 p.m. for London, 6 p.m. for Cairo, 12 p.m. for Rio de Janeiro. These are all cities, of course, but well, a lot of these are cities. 11 a.m. Montreal, 9 a.m. Mexico City, 8 a.m. Seattle. I believe where I live, which isn't any of the cities that they showed, but we get it at I believe we get it around 10 or 11 a.m. So I think that's really cool though that they have the map now. Killer perk updates. Furtive chase. You become obsessed with one survivor. You lurk in the shadows, eliminating your victims one by one. When your obsession is hooked, gain undetectable and a 5% haste status effect for 12 or for 14, 16, 18 seconds. Now, new functionality. Yes. So when during the PTB, that perk did not do that. That perk originally it changes your, it sort of represses your when you hook someone, like when you hook the obsession, your tear radius sort of got hidden, and for some reason it stopped. So in the PTB to sort of make it better, more usable, they sort of, it took away, I believe, an extra meter of your tear radius, and the feedback that they got on it was essentially, yeah, this is good and all, but we're still not going to use it because it's still not going to be used because it's kind of like a mute point thing. So now it still has the but now when you hook the obsession, you gain undetectable and 5% haste, so you move faster for a few seconds. And I'm very excited to test that out. It seems to be better. I think the general sort of idea is that it is now better now, definitely, and more usable. But I just think it's interesting that they had to change it more, where they had to do sort of a full-on perk sort of rework. They had to change what it did. And I know that from the developer update, there's going to be a few things not in here that are coming, so stay tuned for more of my videos of me reading this stuff. I enjoy doing these. It's kind of a tradition that I do this, but I enjoy reading them, sort of sharing my thoughts and opinions. Oh yeah, and then they changed one survivor perk as well, and that's background player. So when the killer picks up another survivor, background player activates for 10 seconds. I believe that might be activated for a bit longer than before, but it's hard to comment because they update stuff. Because by the time they update something, I kind of forget a little bit about what it previously did. When you start running, bringing to a sprint at 200% of your normal running movement speed for 5 seconds. It used to be 150% in 4 seconds, but they decided to change it because, again, the people that gave them the feedback they got was that it wasn't really enough. So that's why they buffed those two things. This prayer cannot be used while suffering from exhaustion. This prayer causes exhaustion for 60, 50, 40 seconds. I believe them. So it's about in line with other exhaustion perks. Updated killer, the Skull Merchant. A character who I liked what I had read about Skull Merchant. In the actual PTB, I sucked major dick after, couldn't get a single kill. But that's not really Skull Merchant's fault. I don't play her very often, and I've always been bad against bots with her, and the bots are also just really good. But what I had read during the PTB was nice. I liked how they sort of reworked her. So while they, of course, are keeping her drones and stuff, they're sort of doing what they did with Sadako, when they reworked Sadako, where they keep sort of that initial idea that they had for the character, but they tweak them to make them a bit more usable. And Skull Merchant, they got rid of her sort of most used playstyle to try to make her, like, sort of different. And so, but I know a lot of the feedback they got was because people, YouTubers that like plenty of YouTubers and other people hated her rework, hated how they were in the PTB, which is interesting because when Skull Merchant released, I believe she was pretty good in the PTB, and then when she had released, she was kind of seen as garbage, and then they had buffed her a little bit, changed some things, and in my opinion, she came out a lot better after that. They made like a few things of add-ons better, like different, but now she works a lot differently. It's interesting, but so let's just jump into this, shall we? Eyes in the Sky. The Skull Merchant begins the match with 6 drones. I believe it used to be 4, but they gave her 2 more drones because of how she works now, which we will get into. But because of how she works now, they felt like they could. I guess they felt like they could give her more drones and be fine. So, press the power button to deploy a drone, which conducts an invisible, continuous sweeping scan. That mode is called stealth mode. If a survivor is detected, the drone becomes active, which is scout mode, which makes the drone scan lines visible. Once detected by a scan line, the survivor gains scan immunity and cannot be detected by other scan lines for 30 seconds. Survivors can attempt to hack drones. Failure activates the drone and partially fills their lock-on meter. Success disables the drone for 15 seconds. Or for 49 seconds, sorry. 45 seconds. So she works a lot differently now. They sort of changed how lock-on did, because lock-on was like a continuous thing. Now it's a meter, which is an interesting idea. Remove the active zone cylinder. I always knew it as active zone, but a lot of players called it cylinder, and that was the sort of radius it had before, where if you were in that area, it like filled up, and that's why she was so good at like guarding gens. And then removed the remote activation of drones. The killer now starts with 6 drones. The maximum distance between drones is now 16 meters, which is shorter than it was, which is less distance than it was before. The drone radius is now 10 meters, which is larger. After the PTB, they made the radius even bigger. They changed sort of a little bit about how scanning worked, about how the new scanning worked. I think they tweaked a few add-ons. They tweaked a lot about her, which is pretty cool. Radar. Press the ability button to open a radar to the location of survivors detected by drones or those with claw traps. Each survivor detected on the radar increases the Skull Merchant's movement speed. Radar can also recall drones or change the direction of their scan rotation. So with being able to change the direction of the scan rotation is a brand new ability. You couldn't do that before, but now you can because a lot of the feedback that they got was that it was easy to like stay in the like you could stay in the drone scan radius because it scans in like a certain radius. It had like a certain path it took, and if you just sort of followed that, it wouldn't scan you very much. So now, so to sort of counteract that, you can now change it whenever you feel like it. By using the radar, of course. Lock on. The lock on meter fills when scanned by a drone and when failing to disable a drone. When the meter is full, the survivor sees a claw trap, becomes injured, and suffers from the broken status effect. Additional scans briefly apply the hindered status effect. A claw trap broadcasts the survivor's location to the killer and is only removed when its battery dies. Removed the exposed status effect from lock on. Yeah, so the reason why they did that, in case you were wondering, before, with how she worked before, lock on would expose you. You would still get the claw trap, but you also got exposed, and she was really good. And exposed on Skill Merchant was very good. So they, especially with sort of the play styles that came out with her, so they just decided to remove it entirely. So you can't. So that doesn't happen now. I don't know how long this is. I don't just like how much text there is. But all the changes are interesting to go over since this is of course PTB, but after the feedback they got was the PTB. So these are her add-ons, and as you can kind of see, there's a lot of them to cover. So the add-in Valente number 1, effects last until the claw trap is removed. The high power floodlight, blindness status applies when receiving a claw trap, effects last until the claw trap is removed. Geographical readout, increased action speed bonus while breaking pallets and breakable walls, damaging generators and vaulting for 20%, up from 15%, so they had buffed that. The effect is now applied for 8 seconds after deploying a drone. High current upgrade, increases the time survivors appear on the radar when detected. Adaptive lighting, reduces the bonus granted for undetectable status to 20%, down from 50%. Stereo remote mic, decreases the disabled state duration of drones. Supercharge, increased battery life of claw traps to 15%, up from 12%. Shotgun speakers, survivors with a claw trap have no skill check warning. Effects last until the claw trap is removed. Low power mode, decreases drone spawn cooldown. Vital targeting processor, increases hindered status by 3% when the survivor is detected by a drone. Brown noise generator. Oblivious status applied when receiving a claw trap. Effects last until the claw trap is removed. Loose screw. Exhausted status applied when receiving a claw trap. Effects last 6 seconds, up from 3 seconds. Randomized strobes, increases hinder status by 1 second when a survivor is detected by a drone. Advanced movement prediction, reveals survivor's aura when they receive a claw trap. Ultrasonic speaker, formerly ultrasonic trap speaker. Yeah, they changed the name of it for some reason. Decreases scan immunity duration. Expired batteries, decreases claw trap battery life 50% instead of 60%. Increases haste status granted when survivors are detected on the radar. Prototype rotor, increases drone rotation speed. Iridescent unpublished manuscript. When a drone is disabled, the drone gains a 32-meter tear radius for 15 seconds. During this time, the skill merchant gains the undetectable status effect. Other daily rituals, achievements, loading tips and score events have been updated accordingly, which makes sense. She works a lot differently now, so they updated all that stuff to better explain sort of how that works now, like to sort of explain, to work with her new changes. Updated killer. So, as you can tell, Skullbridging got changed a lot, and it'll be interesting to see um, if like what people can do with Skull Merchant now that that pretty much seemingly a lot of her stuff got changed. Like not only her herself and like how she works, but also a lot of her add-ons. So, in fact, all of them might have gotten touched. I'm not entirely sure. Updated Killer the Trapper. I've been waiting for Trapper to get updated for a long time. I believe I still don't have Trappers added up on PC, and I do think that this change will make it a little easier for us to get it, me and Orange. But also, there's another change coming with Trapper. It won't be in here because they weren't able to fit it in time, but it will be coming in like one of those like little bug fix like sort of little updates that they do. So definitely expect that video for the rest of the Trapper changes. But basically, when setting a bear trap, the trapper gets a haste effect of 7.5% for 5 seconds, which is a brand new effect. They got that from one of his add-ons, so they updated the add-on sort of accordingly. The Coffee Grounds add-on has been updated to indicate it is an additional haste effect. When when the trial begins, 8 bear traps spawn on the map plus 6. So honestly, Trapper got a nice little buff. Like that alone, really, in my opinion, is a really solid buff for him. But the buff that isn't out yet, but that's coming, is another sort of nice little bonus on top of it. So I think Trapper um, is definitely going to be a lot better once, which I'm happy about. I'm just happy that the changes with him were so good. Other killer tweaks. Huntress. Reloading hatchets takes 3 seconds, was 4 seconds, which is a lot faster. I did test that during the PTP. It is very fast, especially when you give her speed, her add-on that makes like reloading faster. And Iron Maiden, it is ridiculously fast how fast you can reload with her Deathslinger. Unfortunately, I did not get to test his changes during the PTB, but I really like his changes. Reloading takes 2.6 seconds, was 2.75 seconds. Add on Borden's Key. Case decreases the spear gun's reload time by 0.35 seconds, was 0.5 seconds. Add on Jaw Smasher. Increases movement speed by 1.5% while aiming down the spear gun sights, was 1%. They decreased the warden keys. They decreased that because they decreased his base one, which makes sense there. Add on the wanted poster. Increases movement speed by 3% while aiming down the spear gun sights, was 2.5%. They wanted to make those more enticing, so that's why they buffed those so well. Legion. Add on BFFs. And yes, that's the only thing they touched with Legion was that one add on. Earn tokens for hitting survivors during Failed Frenzy. Second chained hit, 2 tokens. Third chained hit, 3 tokens. Fourth chained hit, 4 tokens. And fifth chained hit, 5 tokens. Once the gates are powered, if more than 15 or more tokens have been collected, gain a 6% movement speed boost. When not using Feral Frenzy was 4%. So yeah, it's a lot better now. It's a lot better now. Trickster. Reloading knives takes 3 seconds plus 4 seconds. So again, pretty much the same buff that Huntress got. Anti-base camp feature. They tweaked this a little bit. There was a concern with it. At least one. They tweaked it a little bit from the PTP to make it more useful. you'll see what I mean. It's to sort of fix some concerns players had. Survivors on the hook have an internal camp meter, which builds when the killer is nearby. The meter fills faster the closer the killer is, but it's slower when other survivors are near. Never becomes negative. It will become zero, but it won't go. But it will not become negative. It will become zero though. So once the meter is full, the survivors get a prompt allowing them to escape the hook with 100% probability. Survivors who take this action gain endurance for 13 seconds. 15 seconds. 15. I also think that this change will definitely be good for the achievement of for some of those unhooking yourself achievements, because there's unhook yourself and escape, unhook yourself 50 times, and I think that's about it. So that will definitely help out, because if they're sort of camping you and it works out that you end up, getting to use that, that's another unhook for the achievement. It also means that you actually get off hook now, instead of like potentially going first hook dead because the killer's right there on your hook. So this feature shuts off entirely once the exit gates are powered. They didn't want it to be activated during the exit gates, because at that point the killer needs to do pretty much whatever they can to get a kill. So as part of the system, the cannonball, aka Bubba, can no longer hit a survivor who has endurance twice in the same 0.5 second time span. So basically what that means is you hit is someone gets unhooked, right? So before, let's say Meg gets unhooked, Bubba swings his chainsaw, nails her once, now she has deep wound, hits her again, now she's in the dying state. And sort of because this whole anti-camp stuff is supposed to be like give them a chance to play again, that second hit, I don't know exactly what it means by will no longer be able to do that. I guess if he hits a survivor who has in the endurance stats effect, like I guess he just stops doing the chainsaw or something happens, I guess, that prevents him from doing it again. I guess, which is interesting. Map updates. Shattered Square map updates. The Shattered Square has received a lot of comments at release. Some issues were related to the objects being low to the ground and hard to see, especially when it came to killers that are navigating with a first-person camera. We did a cleanup and made sure that the loops feel smoother. There were also inconsistencies with our visual and navigation language. Objects were placed in a way that felt possible to simply climb because of similar angles to stairs or slopes found in other maps. These were resolved by taking away some of the objects or placing assets that matched the collisions. The line of sight was very low and gave the ability for players to see across the map. A clear line of sight can be detrimental for both sides depending on depending of the play style. Why didn't you just say on the place? Depending of the behavior. I really need to start grammar checking these things. We have changed the positioning of tiles with higher lines of sight blockers to be more predominant. The size of the map was large, and we decided to reduce the size to encourage encounters, to make it more dynamic, and reduce the time to find interactables, generators, hook totems, chests, etc. So basically, we made it smaller so stuff will happen, meaning the killer will find you faster, and also you can actually do the objectives quicker. Macmillan Estate Realm update. The maps of the Macmillan Estate Realm have been in the game for about 7 years, which is which is as long as the game's been out for. The layouts and other information have been available within the community for a while, but the NCAA reminded us to give players a chaotic experience. Therefore, we are adding new variations of the Magnolia State realm match to the existing pool. So basically, they left the ones we are all familiar with alone. Um, so where certain buildings are, where certain things are, that's all the same on those maps. They then just made another version of every map where things will get changed and be different. Features, bot improvements. Rework the bot skill check system. Success rates now correlate with skill check size. Skill check debuffs such as the Doctor's Madness or Hex Hunter's Lullaby reduce the odds of hitting skill check. Yeah, because bots were destroyers of gens before, but now they sort of tweaked that a little bit, which I think is good because bots are crazy good. Some of the stuff that bots can do is insane, and they're for a while, and they just keep improving them, but sort of changing their skill checks to work a bit more, to actually give them a chance to miss them, because before they just never missed skill checks. It didn't matter what you did, they weren't gonna miss they were not missing those skill checks. So now that they actually at least seemingly have a chance to actually miss skill checks, like, yes, it will actually make bot matches a bit better because, gens aren't flying, so you actually get like a bit more time to do stuff. But so I think that's good. Bug fixes archives. Fix an issue that prevented several challenges that have to be completed in the basement from gaining progress. Fix an issue that allowed the deadly senses and you can't hide challenges to gain progress when hitting a survivor with a killer special attack. Fix an issue where the destructive investigation master challenge from Tome 16 existence was awarding the incorrect amount of blood points. Update the description of the I want it, I got it master challenge from Tome 15 Ascension to reflect the update to the Skull Merchant's gameplay changes. Update the Outplayed challenge from Tome 16 Existence to allow progress from the dredge to grab a survivor from a locker they just teleported to. God, dredge had so many bugs. If you're a long-term fan and you know about Orange trying to get me out of dredge, you know there was a lot of bugs when it came to specifically his adept achievements. And what's funny is later he ended up getting a different type of buff of glitch on the achievements. I believe it's fine now, so you can play dredge however you want now, and you should still get it. So that's good. Fix an issue with the job well done challenge from Tome 15 Ascension. Earnestly awarded progress from another survivor is finished. Generate repair action. Fix an issue where the back off master challenge and other similar challenges to not award progress from the stun inflicted after successfully wiggling out the killer's grasp. Fix an issue where the back off master challenge did not correctly display the player's progress. Fix an issue where the Swarm of Darkness master challenge did not correctly display the player's progress. Fix an issue where the Solar Surge master challenge did not award progress from the chest in the killer's basement. Remix challenges no longer prevent the selection of random perks on consecutive trials on the same character. Audio. Fix an issue that caused the Hooked on You music not being played on Trickster's Paradise Beatdown outfit. Fix an issue where the French voice didn't match the text in Tome 15, the absolutely horrifying maniacal puppet show, guest starring Ashy/E2 entry. Fix an issue that prevents the xenomorph to hear generators while in tunnels. Bots can now attempt to self-unhook Bots now break a stare down with the killer earlier when standing still on the opposite sides of a remote flame turret. Bots now try to look for potential killer approach paths when doing long interactions, taking breaks from turning the camera slowly around. Characters. Fix an issue that caused any survivors grabbed by the trapper while vaulting towards him to be seen clipping into the ground. Fix an issue that caused the doctor to be able to see inside of lockers by walking into them. Fix an issue that caused survivor Yunjin Lee's Tom 17 smart outfit arm to break when using a flashlight. Fix an issue that caused the camera of the clip reel raise saber-toothed weapon after hanging a survivor. Fix an issue that caused the camera not to transition properly when doing the Cenobite summons of pain. Fix an issue causing the Xenomorph's tail attack to be able to hit survivors behind it. Fixing the issue causing the Xenomorph's tail attack animation not to match the collision. Environment / maps. Fix an issue in Larry, I don't know how to pronounce Larry's hospital, where the side of a generator was blocked by assets. Fix an issue in Pale Rose, where a group of blockers were too close and prevented possible navigation between them. Perks. Fix an issue that caused the territorial and part of the perk not to activate when a survivor enters the basement. Fix an issue that caused the pain resistance perk to not be able to explode generator blocked by the deadlock perk. Fix an issue that caused the blood-packed perk's icon to appear dimmed when the haste effect is active. Platforms. Fix a crash on Nintendo Switch that could happen when interacting with the friends menu. Good thing they fixed that then. UI. For consoles, the loadout search bar virtual keyboard now appears when the player selected language rather than English. In the store, UI exclamation marks for content, and the new DLC will not correctly disappear on viewing that content. Interesting. And the name of the character properly changes when changing to a preset with a legendary outfit equipped. Wait for mystery box animation to complete before advancing blood webs to the next level. Miscellaneous. Equipped charms are now always visible on the display character in the store. Fix an issue that caused the flame turret's light to remain visible while vaulting. Edited. Fix a bug that resulted in a different distance achieved between male and female survivors during fast vaults. Public test build. PTB adjustment spots. Bots no longer pick up items with nearly no changes remaining. Fixed a crash that could occur when playing with a bot having the reassurance perk. Fixed one vault location on the Nostromo wreckage that bots were unable to use. Skull Merchant update. Increased drone rotation speed while in stealth mode from 50 degrees a second to 60 degrees a second. Increased drone rotation speed while in scanning mode from 75 degrees a second to 85 degrees a second. Increased drone detection radius from 8 to 10 meters. Decreased drone initialization time from 1.5 to 0.3 seconds. Recalling drones no longer puts the power on cooldown. Recalling drones is available at all times regardless of the cooldown. Added the ability to change the drone's rotation direction while using the radar. Drones always deploy facing away from you and only rotate after the initialization phase is over. The randomized Stobes add-on properly increases the duration of the hindered status by 1 second. The Adi Valenti #1 add-on properly reduces skill checks by 20%, not 50%. Anti-face cam feature. It just feels like we're going in circles at this point. Added 7-second grace period. Oh yeah, that was a big thing that players wanted. For the killer to be able to loot the area before the system kicks in. Because before, as soon as they were hooked, it kicked in, meaning as you were walking away, it was filling up. So now it gives you a grace period to actually get away for it to not fill up, which is nice. Carrying a survivor in the radius stops the progress bar from building up. Dying survivors in the radius slow down the progress bar. And vertical distances are now treated differently to avoid unintentionally triggering the system through force. That's another thing that I'm happy about. Perk updates, Spirits of Chase. Changed functionality when hooking the obsession gain undetectable and powers and haste has effect for 14 to 16 seconds. We already know that. Background blur increases sprint speed to 100%. Already knew that. Sprint burst no longer triggers at the same time as the background player perk. Shattered Square map update. Revealed loops that were noted as too strong and reduced the number of pallets spawning in the map. Miscellaneous. Fixed the crash that could occur in the splash screen. The sacrificial word offering no longer disables map repeat. Prevention. The shape's arm no longer stretches during the standing mori from the survivor's perspective. So, honestly, oh my god, okay, we're finally done. Honestly, not bad. It was all just stuff that I've already read before. And if you've watched those videos, then you have also heard some of that stuff. But some of them were actually new. Some of the little, like, bug fixes, some of the things about crashes. Some of the other stuff was also, like, actually new. Which was nice to see that they, that there was actually, like, new stuff to talk about. Even if the large majority of it, we've already have read or somewhat experienced in the PTB, because that was before they had changed it. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the geography garbage. It helps us out a lot. It means a lot to us. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.